Part 50. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Pian Hai. Chapter 491. Kunlun is high with snow. Penglai is far away and always cold. When Yeshi saw Penglai Island in the distance, this thought flashed through his mind. There was originally a blue sky above the Bohai Sea. And the water surface was like a mirror, blue and white, pure, and without any impurities. But in an instant, the boundless frost covered the sky and the earth together, forming a vast expanse of frost, and the Penglai Fairy Island was located between the frost. The underground was covered with ice and snow, and people's eyes were full of white light and coldness. This coldness once again passed through the live broadcast room to the netizens watching the live broadcast. It's outrageous, the temperature here suddenly became several degrees below zero. It was icy and snowy. I immediately turned on my floor heating, but it was still cold. Who said it wasn't? This frost came from the computer screen. It's really weird. It doesn't conform to the principle of Xiangxia at all. It shouldn't be in line with it. I don't know if it conforms or not. I just know that I have to send it now. It's really cold, and it's getting colder. I immediately wrapped myself in my big cotton padded jacket. I know that watching Yeshen's live broadcast, only the audience is hurt. Generally speaking, this happens because the audience is too rubbish. You know what I mean. Get lost. The vast expanse of frost is also accompanied by the infinite blueness of the sea, which reveals a dazzling mythical feeling. Here, it seems to be very close to Penglai Fairy Island. As long as you drive a small boat, you can quickly reach the distant Fairy Mountain and Fairy Island. But only those who have cultivated themselves know that the mirage of Penglai Island is just a stone's throw away. Even mortals have seen the mirage of Penglai Island many times, but seeing it does not mean anything. Only by really going to the island can we prove something. But now, it is not a question of whether to go to the island or not. Now those immortals are worried that Yeshi will blow up the island as soon as he goes there. Especially after they watched Yeshi's live broadcast, they were even more heartbroken. They were scared, really scared. The immortals in the island also wanted to run away. But in fact, those who were well informed had already run away, and the rest were those who were at a loss. Taibei Jinxing arrived very quickly. It must be said that his colleagues in the heavenly court gave him a lot of help in this regard, otherwise he would not have been able to see Yeshi's back in such a short time. But he really didn't want to go up and persuade him. At this moment, he began to recall the scene of persuading the monkey to surrender, and then thought of the monkey imprisoned in hell, and the evil star in front of him who had already destroyed half of the power of the heavenly court without even going to the heavenly court. He couldn't help but sigh deeply. What should I do? I have to do this kind of deadly thing, right? Taibei Jinxing was still thinking about what to say when he opened his mouth, but Yeshi had already noticed the breath behind him. Within 1,000 miles, there were only Yeshi and this unlucky guy, and it would be difficult for him not to notice it even if he wanted to. It seems to be people from the heavenly court. Why are they here again? Do they want to stop me from going to Penglai? Yeshi turned halfway and looked at the person who looked like a small black dot behind him. He had seen the other person's appearance clearly, so he raised his eyebrows slightly. Taibei Jinxing. It's so funny you are trying to stop Yeshen from going to Penglai. If I don't want to leave the heavenly court in this life, you have forgotten the scene of killing people and blood flowing like a river before, right? I can see the psychological trauma when I am just watching, let alone participating in it. I am afraid that I will be scared out of my wits. It is a good summary, and it vividly shows the helplessness of the heavenly court, so I think this time it is more likely that they are not here to find trouble, but to admit their mistakes. Based on my understanding of the heavenly court and Yeshen, I think it is very likely that they are here to ask Yeshen not to blow up Penglai. Good news, bird. Heroes think alike, so do I. Don't be the same. I am so unlucky. Yeshi felt that Taibei Jinxing was coming towards him, so he did not continue to move forward, but stopped and waited for him to come. From this point of view, Yeshi is indeed a very good person, consistent in appearance and heart. Hi. From a distance, Yeshi waved to the other party, showing unusual enthusiasm. The microscopic immortals in the enthusiastic heaven shuddered and murmured privately. Fortunately it's not me who went, don't scare me to death. Too cruel. Although they didn't know why they thought that saying hello was cruel, every immortal agreed with each other's idea when they looked at each other. When Taibei Jinxing saw Yeshi waving his arms to say hello, he staggered and almost fell into the Bohai Sea. And his only thought was, my life is over. You are Taibei Jinxing, I didn't expect you to be exactly the same as the legend. To Taibei Jinxing, Yeshi's voice sounded like it came from hell. But he might have experience, so he adjusted his state very well, but there was a hint of flattery on his face that he didn't even know about. Xuanhuan. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Pian Hai. Chapter 492. Taibei Jinxing wiped the non-existent sweat and let Yeshi look at it, then looked at Yeshi with a smile. His attitude was unusually good. Some immortals who knew Taibei Jinxing were a little confused. When did this bad old man become so patient? He usually has a bad temper. If he wants to fall out, he will fall out. What do you know? When I went to recruit that monkey, his attitude was very good, but not as good as now. Maybe it's because you always arrange such difficult things for him. If you leave me alone, it will be difficult for my attitude to change for the better. Xuanhuan, I come from heaven. You must also know my identity. I am a little immortal official and I am not doing anything in front of you. I don't know anything about the conflict between heaven and you. I just came back from the underworld, and I was forced to communicate with you by those guys who have no conscience. Hearing these words, the immortals in heaven gritted their teeth tightly and tried their best to hold back their anger. However, more immortals' eyes lit up, knowing that Taibei Jinxing was indeed the appointed diplomatic candidate. Look at these words. How wonderful! I also know about the incident at the Five Gods Mountain. This is really what Heavenly Court did wrong at the beginning. And you, immortal Ye, did not do anything cruel to Heavenly Court. You just let many people who attacked you reincarnate. This is all. It's your kindness to us young monks. There were so many beautiful words from Taibei Jinxing that Yeshi wanted to laugh when he heard them. I am just an explorer, an ordinary explorer from Blue Star. You are not a little monk. I grew up listening to your legends. Don't worry, I can understand your Heavenly Court's worries about the Five Gods Mountains. I don't take this matter to heart. Anyway, you are the ones who suffer. Half of the people died, and the eyes of the Bohai Sea were also blown up. Now, you won't be able to go to Five Gods Mountain anymore. As soon as these words came out, even the diplomatic expert Taibei Jinxing couldn't hold back his expression. Sincerity is a surefire weapon. Do you know what it means to tell the truth? Tactical retreat. Actually, I understand at this moment why sometimes you shouldn't tell the truth. It's because it's too hurtful. If the truth is like this, I would rather live in a lie all the time. So, you are the ones who got hurt, why should I hold a grudge? Yeshi stretched out his hand to cover the sun in the sky, then looked at Penglai. Let him pass what has passed. If these are the only things you want to tell me, there is no need to say them. But I'm telling you, you are more curious about what happened from the underworld. I happen to be going to Penglai. You saw it too. How about we go together? There was a natural sense of purity in Yeshi's voice. His every move was purely spontaneous and natural. There were no traces of chiseling. It could even be said that there were no traces of human beings. He is more like the Tao. At the end, he is almost the Tao. As a result, everyone will act according to his wishes unconsciously, and there is no resistance at all. This is what Taibei Star looks like now. He didn't even realize how the plot had developed to this point. But he unexpectedly felt a sense of peace of mind. Even though the initiative was completely in the hands of the other party, Taibei Jinxing felt comfortable in his heart and felt that he had made a good friend. Why is it so easy for two brothers to get along? The charm of Yeshen. I want to dig out my heart and lungs across the live broadcast room, let alone face it directly. I think if those people from heaven hadn't come up to fight and kill them, I think Yeshen would have become friends with them. Otherwise it's Yeshen. Underworld, I'm going to see my old friend. Alas, he has been tortured in the underworld for many years. Countless time has passed by, and there is no concept of time anymore. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Pian Hai. Chapter 493. I remember when Yeshen went to the underworld. Did he encounter a ghost who said this? I remember it. At Living Hell King. Living King of Hell, I'm here, stop shouting, that's not what I said, and I've already made it so clear, so don't pretend to be blind, it's just that monkey, you all know it, can you please stop asking, this makes me very embarrassed. Bai Chain, even so, don't love me anymore, don't you yourselves understand what can and cannot be said? It's that monkey. Do you still need us to be so clear at this time? Obviously, Monkey King, Sun Wukong. Of course, Yeshi also knew which unlucky guy was this one who had been imprisoned in hell for who knows how many years. It was precisely because he knew that he was so curious. Let me think about it, you can understand what I mean. About that monkey, there are actually many things that cannot be left to chance. Taibei Jinxing got stuck in the middle of speaking, and then looked at Yeshi's very young face and swallowed the words he had not yet spoken. Well, if it's you, Yezianren, these secrets and past events are no longer secrets. It's just that right now, we seem to be, live broadcasting. Taibei Jinxing said two words that were completely inconsistent with his current appearance, which made many people very shocked. Yeshi nodded. I'm live broadcasting, but don't worry, everything they can't listen to will be automatically filtered. I don't want to cause a large number of viewers in my live broadcast room to be picked up by black and white just because I heard a secret. Just say it. Taibei Jinxing's eyes suddenly emitted a strange light, and his expression became excited for the first time. Those who know him well in heaven can't help but frown. Why does he still care so much about that monkey? Taibei is really kind-hearted. I still remember the demon ape. It seems that he wants help from this golden immortal. But forget it. Tell me those things. If the golden immortal doesn't cut the demon ape into thousands of pieces, then that's good. That monkey has gone completely crazy. He wants to save him every day. He doesn't even look at what he has saved. Even the golden immortal can't save this monkey. One by one. Maybe. An immortal who had hidden his merits and fame said something that many people in heaven didn't know. He looked slightly disapproving on the surface, but as soon as he said it, he secretly said something bad. This matter cannot be said so directly. After all, who doesn't know that the demon kingdom is not completely extinct? However, although the demon kingdom put some pressure on him, he returned to normal after his expression changed. The demon country is not Yeshi, so even if it is a bit more difficult, there is no need to be so afraid. Yeshi blinked his glasses and heard the discussions in heaven, but he wrote them down calmly, and then continued to listen to Taibei Jinxing talk about the past events. If that's the case, wouldn't it be reasonable for this monkey to be sent to hell? Killing so many mortals, destroying a continent, destroying so many traditions, and adding fuel to the fall of heaven, no wonder I will be suppressed into the boundless hell, and will never be reincarnated. Yashi directly summarized what Tebe Jinxing said as follows. Let Tebe start chatting. That's what they say, but he was influenced by the gods and demons in the abyss. He couldn't even tell them apart, and he killed his friends, and... Yashi suddenly had a headache. Okay, no need to say anything, I understand what you mean. I really have nothing to say about this kind of behavior. Let's move on to the next topic. Yashi was wondering in his mind whether he should take time to go to hell, but he didn't show any signs of it. Instead, he asked Tebe Jinxing to change the topic extremely impatiently. The immortal in heaven smiled. Look, I told you that for what that demon ape did, both humans and gods will be killed. This sentence also reached Yashi's ears, and at the same time, the system's voice also sounded. Ding, congratulations to the host, you have obtained a secret spread in the three realms. About Monkey King, the Abyss, and the secret of heaven. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Pian Hai. Chapter 494. As the host knows well, over a long period of time, things like those recorded in Journey to the West did indeed happen. However, this does not mean that Journey to the West is a documentary literature. In a certain sense, it is also a book that teaches you how to practice cultivation, and the reason why I wrote this book comes from the protagonist in it, Sun Wukong. While heaven was still there, the war between heaven and the abyss had never stopped. Of course, it has not stopped now either. But at that time, the competition between the two was more obvious than it is now, and it was even more intense. The so-called Western Heaven, in fact, it is the abyss, where Sun Wukong becomes a fighting and victorious Buddha after studying scriptures in the West. It is clearly revealed that Sun Wukong was influenced by the abyss. Yes, as you, the host, know, this is a conspiracy against the abyss. However, because of the 2 or 5 boys, the wife and soldiers were lost, and what happened next, even the person who wrote Journey to the West, nor can it be described. The fall of heaven began when Sun Wukong became the victorious Buddha. After that time, heaven thought they had planted one of their own, but they were directly stabbed in the back. There is no doubt that Wuzi is Taisu, and a mysterious deity who has a connection with Taisu. Yashi listened carefully to the system's words and felt that something was wrong. The mysterious heavenly lord? I need to know, is it one of the 3 heavenly lords? Ding, no, but Lingbao Tianzun and Taisu are inextricably linked, but the relationship is deeply hidden. Perhaps the host is willing to enter hell and communicate with this monkey, then you can got many questions answered. Yashi did not give any definite answer, but remained silent for a while. I understand. Needless to say, it's so circuitous. It's not that Lingbao helped hatch Taisu, and then let another Tianzun get involved in Taisu's game. Several people joined forces to create a Journey to the West game, and finally set off a did he interfere in the all-out war between heaven and the abyss, causing heaven to fall after its defeat? It takes you so long to talk about such a simple thing? Can you give me some valuable information? Ding. Host, you have completely understood the context of everything that happened in the abyss and heaven just through these materials. You are indeed a genius. Haha, you made it so clear. Why can't I understand it? Okay, stop flattering me. I need to know now, what are these heavenly lords, heavenly court and abyss fighting for? Yashi asked the most important question. This is what he has always wanted to know, but he only raised the question now. The reason I haven't mentioned it before is because there are secrets everywhere in this universe and restricted by almost all rules. It's really hurtful. If you want to know a secret, you must bear the consequences of knowing the secret. How could a steady person like Yashi put himself in a dangerous situation? But now, as his power gradually increases and he understands the rules of the universe, the consequences of any secret are no longer that important. because he can fully bear the consequences. The ultimate secret of the world is under everyone's gaze and all live broadcasts. Even on this sea glacier, Yeshi was still chatting with Tebe Jinxing. Boarded Penglay while chatting. Ding, this is a secret that will trigger a tidal wave of rules as long as it is known. Without the corresponding authority, any existence that knows the secret will be wiped out. They use secrets to kill people and kill people invisible. Okay, since the host has discovered the most important secret in all the worlds, the system will then evade some energy, lock the system itself in the host's body, and isolate it from all detection. Complete silence. After this incident, the system will remain silent for a certain period of time until the danger is over and safety is perceived. During this period, the system will no longer conduct any external scanning and viewing, and can only provide basic serve. The sound of the system is unprecedentedly quiet and heavy. Yeshi paused as he walked toward Penglay Island, with a smile on his face. He continued to chat with Tebe Jinxing and occasionally interacted with netizens in the live broadcast room. Okay, it seems that this time is really serious, even more serious than what happened in the beginning, but why is it locked on me? I haven't become Deluo Jinxian yet, so I shouldn't be able to protect you, right? Ding, don't worry, host, your future is always watching you. Yeshi doesn't care. Okay, I hope for my future again. My future is really miserable. Ding, the secrets I will tell you next are the things that the abyss and the heavens, and even the 5 innate empresses, as well as the heavenly beings above me, have been looking for and fighting for. Yeshi laughed in his heart. He had many guesses at this moment, such as eternal life, invincibility, etc., or some unexpected treasures, or some rules with powerful power. These speculations are not about this matter, but after he learned about the fall of heaven, the abyss, and Taisug. There were some speculations that had been swirling in his mind. Just when countless brainstorming starts. Future. The system's calm voice without a trace of emotion said 2 words simply and neatly. These 2 words caused both Yeshi's spirit and his body to stagnate at the same time. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white-bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 495. System, you'd better explain to me clearly what these 2 words mean. It is obviously the most important, the Penglay immortal island that many people dream of and many emperors cannot ask for. In front of these 2 words spit out by the system at this time. Not worth mentioning either. A violent storm was going on in Yeshi's mind, as if the explosion of the universe was reappearing in front of him, and the 2 universes overlapped, including heaven, abyss, underworld, Tianzun, blue star, Taishu, Taisug, myths and legends, the worlds I have been to before, the epics I have walked through. Everything appeared in Yeshi's heart again. And these also include every word the system said to him, which at the time he heard was so outrageous that he wanted to beat the system violently. The breath of fairy spirits flows in Penglay Fairy Island, and there is a vast and ancient feeling of immortality here. The chaotic skylight gathered like water under Penglay Fairy Island, and the breath of the avenue was engraved on every inch of Penglay. Those fairy fruit spiritual trees reveal an extraordinary divine light, rainbow color, which makes people feel dizzy when they see it. The universe and stars are reflected behind the Penglay Island. From here, there is an illusion of being infinitely close to the sun star and lunar star. You can pick the stars with your hands. However, as long as you touch it, you can really feel the heat and coldness. Billions of immortal energies descended in it. Divine rainbows danced in many places on this immortal path, and those crystal clear springs carried a far-reaching fragrance, refreshing the heart and mind. Watching the live broadcast from a distance, I can already feel the essence of my soul. The essence of heaven and earth is gathered on the 3 islands, and Penglay is the most essence place among the 3 islands, with 9 colors of divine light and brilliant divine clouds. All this shocked everyone. but it was obvious that Yeshi's entire mind had been focused on what the system said, and he didn't feel the slightest bit about the lingering fairy light outside. Before changing, he had to introduce Penglay Island to the audience. But now, it's just all kinds of things for Taibei Jinxing to say. Although he could completely multitask, at this time, he didn't want to do so. Ding, host, you have understood what the system is talking about. Yes, what the abyss and heaven, even the 5 and 8 empresses, and those above the heavenly Lord have been looking for and fighting for is the future. You can simply understand it as 2 words, or you can expand these 2 words infinitely, it's okay, because these are the future. Yeshi reluctantly suppressed his brainstorming, and then watched the system in the spiritual world. In fact, just looking at the panel that represents the system. Okay, but I need a more detailed explanation. Ding, okay, host, let us conceptually explain and elaborate on the future. Although Taisu and those heavenly lords have always felt that the future is a powerful authority coming from the abyss, even though the abyss is Bien, thinking that the future is a great concept from heaven, but it is not. First of all, the future is both a powerful authority and a great concept. This is a truly incredible existence, far more incredible and great than the Xiantian Wu Tai. For the 5 and 8 Tai, Taishu, Taishi, Taisu, and Taiji, they actually represent a state that combines a section of the universe, and this state is not an era that intelligent life can understand. It should be say, state includes era, but era does not include state. For example, Taisu has passed through 7 or 8 eras, but he will not be conceived until the state where he appears. Therefore, although the 5 and 8 Taisu do have incredible power, they represent after all, it is just a state, not all states. Ding, and the host, the future, represents all the future, yes, all the future. Yeshi pursed his lips. He actually understood what the system meant when the system said the word future. But this guess was too unbelievable, so he asked the system again, and the more accurate answer he got made him sigh deeply. Fairies and colorful phoenixes are flying. There are still some immortals here who have not left yet. They are having a friendly exchange with Yeshi at this time, intentionally or unintentionally telling Yeshi not to blow up the Penglay Immortal Island. Yeshi was still communicating with the system. System, I need to understand something. Don't worry, host. Your future is always watching you. What abyss and heaven are chasing is the future. What do these 2 sentences mean? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 496. Ding, the system has explained it very clearly. Host, please understand it on your own. Ding, the system will always be the host's solid backing and will always act according to your will. The direction you move forward is all the power of the system. Yeshi chuckled. He knew that if he continued to ask, the system would not tell him anything, but he also had some confidence in his heart. Okay, if you don't want to let it go, but I want to ask you, are you that future? Ding, of course not. I'm just hosting your system. Yeshi nodded, which solved one of his doubts. Penglay Immortal Island is surrounded by ice and cold, but after landing on the island, it is peaceful and bright, with a refreshing breeze. Penglay Immortal Island is truly worthy of its reputation. It's just a pity that those ancient emperors wanted to find the fairy island. It does exist, but it's not on Blue Star. Su Fu went to sea to look for the fairy island, but he didn't find it in the end. No, that's not necessarily true. It's too blunt. You should know something about this, right? Taibei Jinxing felt very comfortable, because, based on the current situation, the requirement that Penglazayandao not be bombed should be achievable. So he answered Yeshi's question eagerly. But even if he was really blown up, his answer would probably still be so eager. Regarding this matter, Heavenly Court has actually been communicating with the outside world. Su Fu did not find Penglay. What he found should be a small blessed place established by some immortals who were unwilling to enter Gigzu. However, in the eyes of mortals, it should be Penglay. If you want to find Penglay, you have to either come in through the bronze gate of Kunlun Mountain like you, or come in from the entrance to the outer universe. There is no other way. Do we still want to take a walk in Penglay? In fact, although Penglay Fairy Island has been preserved, it still lacks its ancient vitality. Many rare spiritual roots and fairy plants have disappeared, leaving only this island. Yeshi had already put aside the entanglements in his heart, and returned to Kunlun Ruins and Penglay Island. When he heard Taibei Jinxing's words about showing off his wealth, he really wanted to punch him twice. Tomcat, MMP. I originally thought that after so many years of reselling in all realms, I had successfully advanced to the rich class unexpectedly. I am still a country bumpkin. If I look down on this fairy island so much, I will use all my wealth to fight with you. Make an exchange. Anonymous. As for the brain problem cat upstairs, my opinion is that it would be better to go to hell for 2 years to save its brain, please. This is the Kunlun Ruins. Different people in the live broadcast room are still bickering, but even a being like Tai's Hanglajun doesn't know that in this long road to immortality, Yeshi has obtained the ultimate secret of the entire universe, even all heavens and worlds. It is also the secret that Tai Suteishu, Tianzun, and the others want to get after. The battle between heaven and the abyss has not ended for hundreds of millions of years. In fact, the moment the secret is revealed, the universe should reveal something. The so-called external response and celestial image are common things in this universe. But because the system has locked itself into Yeshi's body, and it hid all the tentacles, so this kind of sky-hanging image did not appear. Therefore, no one in the entire universe knows except Yeshi. Yeshi already knows. Future. In fact, in addition to exploring unknown places, I also like to raise some flowers and plants. Give me a dozen of the spiritual roots and spiritual herbs in Penglay. I will go back and plant them in my world. Tianting's originally happy face suddenly froze. Taibei Jinxing looked at the white turtle and phoenix bird happily and nodded. Of course, I also like to raise some flowers and plants on weekdays, so I will take you with me. Yeshi was also helpless. Who made the system completely shrink, almost as if it was sleeping, shrinking in his body. These things can only be done by oneself. Don't say. There is a heaven and earth spiritual root here, and he really wants to plant it in his home. That was what appeared in Journey to the West. That plant originally belonged to the Queen Mother. 9-leaf Ganoderma lucidum grass. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 497. 9-leaf Ganoderma lucidum grass. How do you know this is in Penglay Island? Taibei Jinxing looked a little surprised. He didn't know if he was pretending or if he really felt that way, but Yeshi thought it was just an act. Because Yeshi had already heard the discussions and gasps from heaven. It's over. This is that person's immortal plant. If this is taken away, what should we do? Half of the immortals are already dead. The 9-leaf Ganoderma lucidum grass is nothing. If it is taken away, then it will be taken away. Is this the problem? Dead immortals can still be reincarnated, but all the immortal plants that were taken away have been taken away. Oh, then you go down and tell this big evil star, don't take the 9-leaf Ganoderma lucidum grass, take me instead. A fairy in purple looked at the fairy in blue next to her with disdain. The fairy in blue was speechless and returned angrily, as if nothing had happened. 9-leaf Ganoderma lucidum, wow, isn't this something from Journey to the West? It actually exists. You are still saying this at this time, why didn't you say it, only today do you know that I also exist? There are so many elixirs and magical herbs that I'm drooling, shas has hasha. Slobber, you can drool as much as you want, you have to be lucky that these things were not taken away by you, otherwise you will probably only be left with the drool you shed. Laughing, suddenly rich, ha 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 ha. Look, this is the 9-leaf Ganodermolucidum you want. Golden glow, bright day and night. Let people know it is extraordinary at a glance. By the way, Yeshi also collected a lot of spiritual roots, so this trip was quite fruitful. The immortals in heaven were heartbroken, but they were relieved to see that Penglay Island was safe and sound. Fortunately, it will be good if Penglay can be saved. Nothing will happen to this fairy island. You all know. The Xuanhuan of the heavenly court watched Yeshi walk away from Penglay Island, and then smiled and said this to the surrounding immortals. I haven't finished saying this yet. He had already seen the terrifying expressions of the immortals around him. The last time he saw such terrifying expressions was when Yeshi wiped out all the immortals. The heavenly court Xuanhuan suddenly stopped what he was about to say, and then swallowed. No, it can't be. He didn't dare to turn around and look at the mirror that reflected all things, and even wanted to leave secretly. As the saying goes, out of sight, out of mind. However, his best friend, at this time, very kindly pulled his body away, and then twisted half of his body so that his head and eyes were facing the mirror of all things. Hey, you're Penglay. All I saw was that everything collapsed, and millions of frosts melted together. The glaciers are breaking apart. And the giant turtle carrying Penglay Immortal Island on its back escaped. All this is like the sky is falling and the earth is falling. It's so scary that it's unbelievable. Yeshi had just left Penglay Immortal Island at this time, but Taibei Jinxing's smile was still stuck on his face. Just that moment. The smile froze and then quickly disappeared. And it appeared on the faces of the viewers watching the live broadcast. Yeshi was shocked. He quickly clarified himself. This matter has nothing to do with me. People in heaven must not throw dirty water on me. Apart from picking some flowers and plants along the way, I have done nothing. This pot cannot be held on my head. Speaking of which, hey, too white, too white. Yeshi was still talking to the live broadcast room and the sky here, when he saw Taibei Jinxing standing next to him with stars in his eyes. He became dizzy and almost fell from the sea. Fortunately, Yeshi supported Taibei Jinxing, but at this moment, Taibei Jinxing would rather sink to the bottom of the Bohai Sea with Penglay Island than stay awake. This place is going to collapse. Yeshi was afraid that the world would not be in chaos. He even held Taibei Jinxing with one hand and pointed at the running giant turtle with the other and said, "Oh, I'm just saying, I can't be blamed for what happened this time. Look, it turned out to be because of that big turtle. It seems that it was the turtle that carried the Penglay Fairy Island on its back in legend. Why did it run away like this?" Xuanhuan, yes, I said that. Xuanhuan, this time it's really me, the giant turtle from the south, carrying Penglay Mountain on my back, traveling thousands of miles around giant turtle. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Pian Hai. Chapter 498. No, I threw up laughing, ha 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 ha. A blue tomcat who was on an interstellar journey stopped all movements and did not even try to travel through space. Instead, he pointed forward, hugged his belly and laughed. And the front it pointed to was Yeshi's live broadcast screen. Well, this blue cat loves Kanieshi's live broadcast room very much and advertises it. Although it is conducting transactions in the sky at this time, it still opens the live broadcast room as narration music on the side. It always knew that Yeshi's live broadcast room was full of fun. But this time, it was the first time it had seen such fun. Tomcat, It's so funny that I can't help it, ha 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 ha. It's hilarious. Heaven didn't want Penglay to fall, but now, it did not fall, it just collapsed. It's so funny. Smile transfer method, transferred from Taibei Jinxing's face to mine. It also moved to Yeshen's face. But to be honest, Yeshen's reaction was really quick. He clarified himself so quickly, but Yeshen really had nothing to do with the Penglay collapse. Why don't I believe it? That giant turtle ran so fast I could feel its panic from several worlds away. Could it be that it was frightened by Yeshen? Announcement bird, so you gave me a nickname. I think I can give it to Taibei Jinxing, crow's mouth. I'm just saying, don't set a flag, don't set a flag. I've been watching live broadcasts for so long, and there's never been a time when I raised a flag without being slapped in the face. It's okay now. If you don't listen to the old man's words, you will suffer the consequences in front of me. Yeshi blinked his eyes. He was still explaining and explaining in a serious manner, pointing at the giant turtle that was panicking. It seems that the reason why Penglay Island collapsed was indeed because of this giant turtle. What a pity. Yeshi clicked his tongue. The heaven and earth spiritual roots and spiritual flower immortal plants that I just took away were still too few. It's better now. They all collapsed and fell into the Bohai Sea. I don't know if I can catch it. Yeshi sighed and said words that would make him angry and not worth his life. What the hell happened? Several loud shouts came from the heaven. Taibei Jinxing also tried hard to regain his consciousness, which had been shocked. He tried hard to hold Yeshi's arm, and then said, Yezianren, dare I ask why Penglay encountered such a thing? I don't think it was Yezianren who did this, but I feel confused, and I would like to ask Yezianren for some advice. Yeshi blinked his eyes, stretched out his hand, and directly stopped the running giant turtle. Then he shrugged his shoulders. I don't know either, but there should be a turtle there, who knows? We can ask. At the same time, the white turtle and phoenix bird that were already standing on Yeshi's shoulders began to tremble. They huddled on Yeshi's shoulders, tightly grasped Yeshi's clothes, and quietly huddled in his hair. Under. You. Yeshi heard the wailing sound of the phoenix bird. He reached out and touched the two little ones. He looked at Taibei Jinxing, who kept swallowing his saliva. Something seemed to flash in Taibei Jinxing's eyes. He seemed to react in an instant and understood something. Yeshi did not ask further questions, but turned his ears to listen to the discussion in heaven, and headed in the direction of the giant turtle. Penglay Immortal Island is indeed collapsing downwards. But there was still some discrepancy with what was said in the live broadcast room, because Yeshi helped the other party. As a result, the entire Penglay Island sank into the sea almost completely, instead of collapsing and collapsing. Tongzi, what happened again? Ding, according to the analysis of known information, there should be big changes in the sea area, but the system is now in sleep mode, except for the panel and chat, there is no other function. I know, I just asked. I actually roughly guessed that in the north of Kunlun ruins, the spiritual tide began to surge, and all the spiritual energy and essence of heaven and earth there were swallowed up by a sea. Guess who I thought of? An old friend. We once met, the one with half a leg. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 499. It collapsed, it really collapsed. The giant turtle was forced to stop by Yeshi. Although it could not move due to this, its eyes were still very panicked, and its whole body kept swimming forward, unable to move at all. All sea areas are common. Strictly speaking, beneath all land and islands is the ocean. So every piece of water is connected together. Therefore, the stormy waves in the North Sea directly affected the Bohai Sea. It even shook Penglay Immortal Island and collapsed. In fact, it is not just the Bohai Sea, but also other sea areas. Back then, the great catastrophe of conferring God swept across the entire universe and world. And one can imagine how terrifying it is to be able to stir up the wind and rain during that catastrophe. And those familiar names in Jishanting gradually disappeared in time. Only immortals like Tebe Jinxing are left. If the Shen Gongbeo in the conferred God War escapes, there will be a bloody storm. Actually, Shen Gongbeo has been trying to recover the remaining limbs of his body, but he has been missing the last one. But after searching for thousands of years, I still haven't found the last part. Until Yeshi was born. It wasn't until he broadcast the live broadcast of Shengsu that Shen Gongbeo found the last piece of the puzzle of his body. However, knowing where your legs are does not mean you can get them. Especially since I have no physical body at all, and my spirit cannot leave behind. Completing the puzzle becomes even more difficult. Not a big problem. Taisu has always been a pioneer who is eager for justice and likes to help. Even Shen Gongbeo's seal was loose because it was too plain. However, Shen Gongbeo didn't know about this matter. Therefore, when Taisu came for the first time, Shen Gongbeo refused. He boasted that he was an orthodox descendant of the immortal family. Even if that damn Zhangzia was sealed here, he would never collude with such evil ways. Until Shen Gongbeo saw Yeshi appear. As well as the heavenly court, and the era before mythology, the Buzhu Mountains were broken, and everything like this. It all gave Shen Gongbeo an inexplicable feeling. His not very sensitive sense told him that this time was probably the last chance to escape. So despite all the entanglements, he still chose to make a wish to Taisu. This wish. Even for eternity, he would never be able to escape from Taisu's hands. Taisu is also known as responsive to all requests. But almost no one can bear the consequences of asking for a cause. Including those heavenly beings. Yeshi's spiritual sense has covered the infinite distance. He was naturally aware of the turmoil in Bihai and even joked with the system. But that was not the case for Tebe Jinxing. Ever since the Penglay Immortal Island collapsed, he had been as if his whole family had died. No matter how much Yeshi comforted him, his expression had not changed at all. After standing in front of the giant turtle, asking the giant turtle and getting a reply, Tebe Jinxing couldn't get up for a breath, and almost fainted here again. Sad news comes one after another. This poor Venus couldn't control her expression at all. His lips trembled. It's Shen Gongbeo. He actually escaped from the eye of the North Sea. How did he escape? It was a seal added by Tianzun. After the collapse of heaven, it was even reinforced. When Yeshi heard this, he couldn't help but twitch the corners of his eyes. He never expected that the heavenly palace would collapse and Tianzun would still find time to strengthen Shen Gongbeo's seal. How deeply did Shen Gongbeo offend this heavenly lord? Or does Tianzun also think that Shen Gongbeo is an unprecedented evil star? Yeshi recalled the contents of the list of gods and expressed his approval of the latter. He felt, indeed, Shen Gongbeo, a small immortal, had killed countless immortals of the same level as him, including many black immortals and golden immortals. He was even more insane than Yeshi looked. Yuanqi Tianzun. Yeshi touched his chin and supported Lao Bai next to him to prevent him from fainting immediately. Then he said to the live broadcast room. The next thing is interesting. Shen Gongbeo, who was filled with sea eyes by Yuanqi Tianzun, broke away from the seal again. Therefore, the turbulent winds and clouds that stirred up the North Sea affected the Bohai Sea, causing the Penglay Immortal Island to sink. It's broken. I also want to go to the other two fairy islands to take a look. Now it's better. I think they all sunk. But it's strange. He has been sealed for so long. Even before he was taken over, his cultivation level was not that high, and he was not good at cultivation. Why did he make such a big fuss as soon as he came out? Could it be that the reclamation of the sea and the dismemberment of corpses would lead to improvement of cultivation level? Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white-bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Pian Hai. Chapter 500. Yes, she was indeed discussing with netizens seriously. On the one hand, it is because he is very dedicated to his duties and fulfills his exploration mission seriously. On the other hand, it is because he knows that there are many big bosses hidden in his live broadcast room, so he said these words with the idea of working together. And the first one to pop out was the tomcat laughing in the universe. Tomcat was so disturbed by the movements in Kunlun ruins that he didn't dare to trade. He disappeared from the universe in a blink of an eye, and then appeared in the live broadcast room. Tomcat, it's impossible. I once wanted to trade with this person who is second only to Zhangzia among the gods. The other party couldn't give me anything, not even his soul. The whole dismemberment was particularly brutal, and all the spiritual energy was locked up, so it could only be depleted day after day. The existence of filling him up in the sea was based on the calculation that Shen Gongbeo would die in the sea. Even if he died, how could there be such a good thing as the little Poseidon you mentioned? Mysterious passerby, I watched all the live broadcasts of the anchor, and I found that I have found the truth in the universe. The anchor is a guy who will have trouble wherever he goes. I think those immortals in heaven should not feel bad about collapse. There are 3 fairy islands. It is better to worry about whether Kunlun ruins will collapse. Kicking the doorframe, I need to correct it. Yeshen is the fate of the legendary protagonist. Most people don't have it yet, so don't be envious or jealous. You can talk, but indeed, when I see Yeshen, I seem to see the protagonist. The world has collapsed, and all the benefits will still fall into Yeshen's hands. How could Kunlun ruins collapse? Since the fall of heaven, how long has Kunlun ruins lasted? Even Taibijin star cannot tell it. Hey, don't tell me every one of those planets and galaxies that Yeshen has visited has lasted for hundreds of millions of years. But look what happened once Yeshen left. All those billions of years were in vain. Same, they all exploded. Yeshi. He came to see if there was any hidden boss who could analyze the matter in front of him. I'm not here to see these netizens analyze themselves. But looking at it this way, it seems that it is indeed the case. Yeshi thought about his past and was surprised to find that he was really destroyed wherever he went. Wrong. He came to his senses immediately. Didn't Blue Star explode? Just when Yeshi was planning to defend himself in this way, a faint voice came from the system. Ding, host, Blue Star relies on Kunlun ruins for its existence. If Kunlun ruins explodes, Blue Star and the entire solar system will explode. Host, you better stop setting the flag. Just now I used Lianshan, Gazang, and Zhuyi. The algorithm has been calculated for you, and it turns out that your destiny is extremely unlucky. It will not defeat anyone, but will bring many opportunities to the friends around you, but what you defeat is the world. Yeshi. His face turned blue and white, and countless Taoist secrets passed through his heart. He used different fortune-telling methods to tell his fortune. This calculation found that it was exactly what the system said. Immediately his face turned completely black. Although the topic in the live broadcast room has been making various speculations around Yeshi's peculiar physique. However, there is still another group of people who pay attention to Shen Gongbeo and Bohai. Taibei Jinxing and Yeshi confessed and left early. Before leaving, they even took the giant turtle away. They should be taken to heaven together. I don't know what heaven plans to do. Anyway, Yeshi didn't hear anything. The war between the abyss and heaven has been going on and never stopped. When Yeshi saw Nantianmen for the first time, he never stopped. It never stopped when the 2 universes overlapped. Then it has never stopped at this moment. It's just that Kunlun ruins has always been a back garden of heaven. Unfortunately, now this back garden has been robbed. Shen Gongbeo made a wish for Taisu. All the balance that was originally maintained was shattered. And the trigger of all this was actually the live broadcast at Yeshi Shensu. Otherwise, Shen Gongbeo would not be able to find his right leg until the heaven was re-established and then fell again. Certainly. Yeshi expressed stern rebuttal to this behavior of pouring dirty water on himself, and claimed that he was just an ordinary explorer. After Tabai Jinxing left, the waves in the entire Bohai Sea are surging, and they are all huge waves. If ordinary mortals were here, they would be swept into the deep sea by these huge waves and die completely. Even people who are successful in spiritual practice cannot withstand the tsunami caused by the mixing of several sea areas and the various natural images on the sea. Do you think we should go to Bohai now? The two places I originally wanted to go to in the Bohai Sea are probably submerged and I can't see them anymore. Wait a minute, I'll use my clairvoyance to see if it sinks. As Yeshi spoke, his eyes emitted a golden light and shot very far away. After a few seconds, the golden light went out, and his eyes shone with dreamy brilliance and endless power. Abbot and Yingzhou have indeed sunk. It seems that we must go to Bohai. Yeshi looked particularly disappointed. Some immortal officials who were still watching Yeshi in the Heaven Palace couldn't help but curse in their hearts and became extremely panicked and worried.